Let's call him Mark. He's 48. He's got a good job, a mortgage he's nearly on top of, 2 kids, a dog. And if you asked him, he'd tell you he's careful with money. He doesn't gamble. He doesn't splurge. He checks his balance most weeks. Last month, Mark spent a little over $4,000. And if you sat him down and asked him where it all went, he could honestly account for maybe half of it. The other half didn't disappear because Mark is reckless. It disappeared because of 6 ordinary things he's still paying for out of habit that quietly stopped being worth the money. And not one of them felt like a mistake at the time. Here's the part that matters. Mark never makes a single reckless decision in this entire video. Every choice he makes is completely reasonable on its own. That is exactly why it's so expensive. And it's why almost none of this is really his fault. It's arithmetic. So this isn't a guilt trip about his coffee, and it isn't a lecture about giving things up. I'm going to walk you through one ordinary month of Mark's life, and we're going to add up the 6 things that stopped being worth it, one by one, as they happen. 5 of those 6 are small enough that Mark could see them if he ever stopped to look. The 6th one, he signed up for in a single afternoon, and it quietly does more damage than the other 5 put together. I'll tell you when we get to it, and I want you to keep a running total in your head because I'm going to keep one too. Mark's month starts on a Tuesday. It's 7:42 in the morning, and he taps his card for a coffee on the way into work. He doesn't look at the price. He hasn't really looked at the price of his morning coffee in about 3 years. A flat white used to be a $3 or $4 thing. Mark's is $5.50, and because he works in the city, some mornings it's closer to $6.50. That's up around 37% since before the pandemic, and it never came back down. One coffee, 5 days a week, is roughly $1,400 a year before he's eaten anything. Then there's Thursday night. The kids are hungry, Mark's tired, so he opens Uber Eats. Here is what he doesn't see. The restaurant is paying Uber a commission of around 30 to 33% just to be listed. Then Mark pays a service fee of 10 to 15% on top of that, plus a delivery fee of $3 to $6. That $20 dinner lands closer to $28, and not a cent of the extra is buying better food. It's buying the convenience of not driving 4 minutes to pick it up himself. The coffee isn't the problem, and neither is the occasional delivery. It's that Mark buys the premium version of both, on autopilot, without ever quite deciding to. Keep the coffee. Keep the delivery for the nights you genuinely need it. Just make it a choice again, and order pickup instead of delivery when you can. Mark's running total for the year is already about $1,400, and we've only had breakfast. And the coffee is the small one. The next thing he doesn't even see leave his account. Rewind a couple of weeks to the Saturday the old fridge finally died. Mark's at the counter buying a new one, $1,200. And right at the end, the assistant asks if he'd like to add the 5-year care plan. $180. Mark says yes, because saying yes feels like the responsible thing to do. Here is what nobody told him. In Australia, Mark already has a consumer guarantee under the Australian consumer law. It's automatic, it's free, and it doesn't expire on a fixed date. If that fridge packs it in 2 or 3 years down the track, his existing rights already cover a repair or a replacement for nothing. The extended warranty is largely selling him back something he already owns. A business isn't even allowed to pressure him into one or tell him it covers things his consumer guarantee doesn't. For something genuinely fragile and expensive, a warranty can occasionally earn its keep. But for most everyday appliances, that's $180 for peace of mind he was already entitled to, for free. Mark's total is now $1,580, and he felt sensible spending every dollar of it. The next one, he set up years ago and forgot about. Back in January, full of good intentions, Mark joined a gym. It's now well into the year, and he's been 4 times. The membership is $77 a month. And it comes out automatically, the way these things always do. Mark isn't unusual here. Around 18% of gym members never set foot in the place at all. Across the industry, roughly 2 in 3 memberships go unused or barely used, and half of all new members quit within 6 months. The motivation quits. The direct debit almost never does. That $77 a month is $924 a year, sitting in a gym bag he hasn't opened since autumn. And this genuinely isn't about willpower. It's a payment that outlived the reason it started. If that's you, you don't need a pep talk, you need a phone call. Ask to pause instead of cancel, drop to a casual pay-per-visit rate, or swap it for a park run and a council pool that costs next to nothing. Mark's running total just climbed to about $2,500, and we still haven't touched the thing he sits down with every single night. Here is where it stops being money Mark can see and starts being money he's stopped noticing entirely. Mark has Netflix because everyone has Netflix. He's got Kayo for the footy and the cricket at $45.99 a month. There's Binge for the shows his wife likes. And Disney Plus for the kids. 4 services, and on a normal week, he actually watches about 2 of them. Streaming used to be the one bill that replaced the cable bill. Now Disney Plus alone has put its price up 4 times since 2019. Add Mark's stacked together and it's north of $1,200 a year. Subscribe to the top 8 services in Australia, and you'll be paying $1,087 a year on streaming alone. Nobody decides to spend that in one sitting. It happens $17 and $19 at a time, until it just feels like a bill you've always had. Here is the fix, and it costs nothing. Rotate. Keep one service. Watch what you actually came for. Then cancel it and move to the next one the following month. Same shows, a fraction of the cost. Mark's total is now around $3,700. And this next one is where the marketing and the maths tell completely different stories. Halfway through the month, Mark decides to replace the barbecue. $400. At the checkout, there's a button that splits it into 4 payments of $100, interest-free. It feels smart, so he taps it. Here is the quiet problem. Because it's split, it doesn't feel like spending $400. It feels like spending $100. And that's the entire point. People reach for the pricier barbecue or the extra thing they weren't going to buy, precisely because the price has been softened for them. Then there's the risk underneath it. Australian Securities and Investments Commission's own research found that 21% of buy now, pay later users missed a payment in the past year. Of those people, 44% went on to miss a regular household bill, 32% missed a credit card repayment, and 22% missed their mortgage. One missed installment, one $10 or $15 late fee, and the interest-free deal quietly stops being free. Mark's fine this month. But here is a rule that costs nothing to apply. If you can't pay for something today, in one go, you can't quite afford it yet. That's not a judgment. It's just the same arithmetic buy now, pay later is designed to hide, handed back to you, which brings us to the one I promised you at the start, the one Mark signed up for in a single afternoon. 8 months ago, Mark's old car was getting tired and he'd had a good year, so he wandered onto a dealership lot on a Saturday and drove home in a brand new one. $35,000, over 5 years, signed the same afternoon as the test drive. Here is what that decision actually costs. A new car loses somewhere between 20 and 30% of its value in the first year alone, most of it the moment it leaves the lot. So before Mark even got it home, it was worth thousands less than he'd just paid for it. At the same time, the loan on it runs at around 12% interest. Over 5 years, that $35,000 car costs him closer to $47,000. So Mark is doing 2 things at once on the very same car. He's losing value on the thing itself and paying rent on the money he borrowed to buy it. That one Saturday afternoon cost Mark more than everything else in this video combined. This is why it's a different kind of decision entirely. The coffee is a habit, the car is a debt, dressed up as a lifestyle. And even this doesn't make Mark reckless. A used car a few years old, bought with less borrowing, would have driven him to work just the same for a fraction of the cost. He just did the normal thing, and the normal thing quietly got very expensive. So let's add up Mark's ordinary month. The coffee and the deliveries, the warranty he didn't need, the gym he doesn't use, the streaming he doesn't watch, the barbecue he softened the price of. Just those small 5 over a year come to a little over $4,000, which is almost exactly what Mark spends in a whole month of his life. Sit with that for a second. A whole month of his income every year, quietly going to things he'd stopped noticing. And then, sitting on top of all of it, the car. Here is the part I actually want you to take away. Mark never once felt reckless. Every single choice made sense on the day he made it. That isn't a flaw in Mark, it's how the whole thing is designed to feel. Noticing it is the entire job. So here is where that leaves you. Go and find your own version of Mark's month. Open your banking app tonight, read the last 30 days, line by line, and just notice which of these 6 you're paying for on autopilot. Here is what I've deliberately left out of this whole video. Finding the money is only half of it. Knowing what to do with it once you've freed it up is a completely different skill, and almost nobody is ever taught the second one. If you're carrying a buy now, pay later balance, or a car loan charging you more than about 8 to 10%, paying that down beats any investment you could make. Guaranteed, no market required. But once that debt is gone, most people freeze. Emergency fund, super, or your first ETF. I've mapped the exact order, rung by rung, for the actual Australian system in a video called The Smartest Order to Invest Your Money in Australia. That video is right here, and I'll see you over there.